folks, this is Mary, aka MercyTriumphs, and this is my channel, Slow Crochet. This is episode 013, and today I want to talk about works in progress, finished objects, and some announcements. So let me actually start with that. First of all, I want to welcome my subscribers. So good to see you. Thank you for coming along for this YouTube adventure of mine. This week I hit 100 subscribers, which is a really beautiful milestone. I have not been on social media. I haven't really promoted this channel or anything, and I've been interested to see what happens with it, just sending it out into the wild. The fact that you guys found me is still amazing, and I'm really glad that you're here. Thank you for joining me. I have actually started an Instagram, and my Instagram there is at slowcrochetyt. So if you want to connect with me over there, that would be a lot of fun. I will still keep YouTube as my main outlet. If you have any kind of constructive feedback, please let me know. I am new to this whole filming process, and I'm trying to make it work with the tech that I have on hand. So there are some things that I can change. I know a few people have mentioned that the volume needs to go up, but that is something that I'll be working on. So if you have any other constructive criticism, anything that I can improve on, please do let me know. I will do my best to address those. I have gotten a first request for a tutorial, and I hope to look into figuring out how I can do that, make that work, again with the tech that I have available. I'm going to try to free up a little bit of brain space to work on that problem, and hopefully I can start doing a few of those, because I am enjoying the process of really kind of coming up with my own patterns or taking things and leapfrogging from them. And actually, speaking of frogs, let me go ahead and get into some finished objects. I'm going to take you to the past because there's something I made that I already gifted. Hello, people of the future. This is Mary of the past, and I wanted to jump on here quickly because I just finished making something completely on a whim. So I wanted to show him to you now, and it is a him because it's a little frog. The other day, I happened upon a YouTube channel I'd never seen before, because typically I'm not an amigurumi person. But I was recommended a video by Complicated Knots, and she was comparing different yarns for amigurumi based on the same pattern. She kept doing little frogs. So she did have it was less than 15-minute tutorial on making this little frog. Now, I have a friend who just recently got back into crochet. You know who you are if you're watching. Hi, and thank you. Hopefully you've already gotten this by the time you see this. She loves frogs. So I had been thinking about frogs already since seeing Miss Helen over at Mousy Makes. I had seen her knitted frogs and her crocheted frog and toad. And when I saw this particular pattern, I thought, okay, maybe I can handle that one. Didn't work up in 15 minutes because I do go kind of slow, and I find that I do tend to fight with the yarn some when I'm doing amigurumi. Maybe I'm just not familiar enough with it, or maybe it was the yarn itself, but love how he turned out. Now he is made from Yarn Bee Second Chance, upside down. This is the color Parsley. This is a big old skein of 367 yards. It is 60% recycled acrylic and 40% recycled polyester. So maybe that was why I was kind of fighting with the yarn a little bit, but maybe it's just my inexperience with amigurumi. However, I'm gonna have to hide this guy from my children because I'm sure that they will want them, and I'm sure I'll be making them probably for Christmas, maybe as ornaments, maybe a little frog, maybe I'll do a brown one as toad. I will take you back to the present now. Welcome back to the present. I do want to show you my other finished objects from this week. Now, one of them is actually a thread crochet project that I was doing. It is a leaf bookmark, and you see that I finished it, I blocked it, I actually steam ironed it, and the thread that I was using, it's pretty old. It's been in my collection for years. So I think it was cotton, but it must have had some kind of coating on it, because now that it has been blocked, it's softened up and it's fuzzied up just a little bit. I made this using a size 5 boy steel hook, and I have a cousin that's getting married, and I wanted to tuck this into the card with a note that it was made with a crochet hook that belonged to my great-grandmother, which would be her great-great-grandmother. So I'm going to tie in some family history there. I am going to do another of these just for myself, and you'll hear more about that in the future. Another finished object that I have this week is a crystal hat. And by crystal, I mean it's a pattern from Bag O' Day Crochet. Now this one is made out of a vintage Plymouth yarn Gina, and it's 100% wool, and it is 109 yards, and I only have about a yard left. I fell in love with these colors, these mossy greens. This reminds me of a walk in the woods when you see different wildflowers popping up, and then you see the greens and the browns of all the different plants, and maybe you're going along a rocky stream. So this hat, I love how it turned out, and I love this pattern in general because it only uses about 100 yards, and I think it turned out really cute. I'm going to add it to my collection immediately, but I'll keep it in my head for the rest of the video. I used a J-hook on it, and my head is maybe average size, not particularly large as an adult, not particularly small. It turned out quite close fitting, and I really like it. So that is my finished object. Now, last week I had a finished object, the Höstbachring, or Autumn Garden Shawl, and I had played Yarn Chicken, and I had lost, and I knew I just wasn't going to wear it. So I ended up getting to spend some time with a good friend of mine, and I decided I was going to frog the entire thing. Now, I had used 2 balls of Yarn Bee Chloe in the colorway Pick of the Bunch, and my friend actually said, you know, I have that exact yarn here if you want to complete it. You know what? No, it was so big and so long and so kind of unwieldy that I thought this yarn deserves to be used in something that is going to be truly loved. And she happened to have a yarn ball winder. She didn't have a Swift, but I ended up caking the entire thing. I even had to bend out the arm a little bit to make space for all of it. And now this will have to go to a project in the future where it can truly be shown off and loved. So let's move on to some works in progress. Last week I showed my afternoon at Pemberley dress, and I got a lot of wonderful feedback on that. Thank you so much for all of your compliments. As I went ahead and I finished off the neckline and the sleeves just with a bit of a single crochet. And then on the neckline I also did some slip stitching on top of the single crochet to give just a little bit more oomph. And one of my commenters suggested that I add a button on the shoulder to help with getting it on and off. So I did as she suggested. I'll put her name right here. Thank you so much for that suggestion. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do a button here or if I will do like a hook and eye, but I did leave some space at the shoulder to help me get it in and out of it. Now, what have I decided to do? Well, my husband said you can always mark the length that it's at, and you can add to it, and then if you don't like it, you can rip it out. Which, knowing me, he's seen me do this multiple times, and I mean, I've ripped out blankets worth of things. I'm determined that if I'm gonna keep it, it needs to be right. And I started thinking about kind of a combination between a column and a mermaid tail. So what if I just went up a hook size? So I had been using a size H hook, which is a 5mm, and I decided to go up to a size I, which is a 5.5mm hook. And I'm gonna see if that gives a little bit of shaping to it. And I'm just gonna keep going down. And maybe in the future, I'll go up to a J and kind of curve it out even more. The thought behind this, it's really twofold. Number one, I'm making this almost aspirationally. I have great hopes that my husband and I will get away on some wonderful adventures together, maybe a tropical vacation. And so I would love to have something really special to wear then. The other thing is, as of right now, I am staying home with my children, and so my wardrobe in general is very practical. So for me to have something in my closet that is just beautiful, it reminds me of not just the life that I could live, but it reminds me to a degree of who I am when I'm not cleaning the house or feeding the family or doing the chores. You know, there's a part of me that really is this kind of beautiful storybook fairy tale character. That's something that I want to engage with, that a part of me that I want to make sure that I honor, even if I can't do that all the time or most of the time. Is it aspirational, or is it calling to a part of me that isn't really at the forefront right now? So having a beautiful, elegant, long dress that is impractical in my day-to-day life, yet it's there because I know I'm still that fairy tale princess in my heart, even if I'm disciplining my children. I hope that makes sense. That's, I think, my decision process of why I want to make this a full-length gown, if you will. So my next work in progress are my Must Be Merino mitts, so fingerless gloves. And these were ones that I looked at someone else's pattern and I liked the elements of them. Like, I liked how she did the mitt part and I liked how she did the cuff part, but I didn't like the stitches that she used. So I swapped those out for something that I do like. Now, last week I had not sewn in any ends and I had not started the next one. And this week I have at least started the cuff. So goal this week is to finish the rest of this. So I'm using Must Be Merino Aran in the color olive, and it is 50% merino wool, 25% acrylic, and 25% nylon. It is a yarn bee. Thank you, Hobby Lobby, for your clearance. The last project that I have on the hook right now, I actually started yesterday, and it's another time where I looked at the elements of a pattern that already existed, and I wanted to change it up a little bit and substitute out my own counts, my own yarn, and my own sizes and things like that. So this is my version of the Sagebrush Tank by Grace Forthefrills. And I am using a heavier weight yarn. This is a Noro yarn from a scarf that I had made and I frogged. And so it's got stripes of lavender and kind of a brownish green, kind of a creamy white, more brown, and then it goes into pastel blue and pastel pink. I wanted not to do a tank top per se because this is a wool cashmere blend, using her pattern as a framework to make a sweater vest. So this shall be a sweater vest. Different from her pattern, I have done a series of single crochet back loop only at the bottom to make a little bit more of like a more fitted ribbing, and then the shaping here. And I've made the straps wider and shorter. And then in her pattern, she calls for doing two separate panels that are identical and seaming them together and then doing the neckline and the armholes. I'm gonna see if I can do this all in one piece, but I'm really enjoying this process. It's almost mindless and it's going really quickly, and it's really rewarding in that regard. So hopefully this will be finished this week. That is it for my works in progress. That's it for my finished objects and all those little bits of YouTube announcements. If you have enjoyed being here with me today, all of the comments, likes, shares, subscribes, bell notifications, those things are wonderful. They really are encouraging. And I'm loving this time with you guys. I'm loving the process of filming and editing and being able to interact with y'all. If all this interests you, come along for this journey with me. If I am not your cup of tea, thank you so much for listening this long. I really appreciate it, and I hope I'll see you again soon. Bye.